What's poppin', guys? Welcome back to Sand Talk Sports. Let's talk about the LA Lakers acquiring Patrick Beverley from the Utah Jazz. Man, I think this is a steal of a deal for the LA Lakers. Patrick Beverley is such a solid 3-and-D player. If you look at the specifics of the deal, the Lakers sent back to the Jazz THT and Stanley Johnson. And you know, Patrick Beverley is the type of guy that you hate it when he is playing for your other teams, when he's not playing for your team, but when he is playing for your team, you love him because of his tenacity, his toughness, his competitive spirit. The way that he plays the game is very irritating for opponents, which bodes well for his team. And honestly, if you look at the past 5 seasons, Beverley has held opponents to 41.9% shooting. That's second among all the players who has defended 2,000 shots. Shout out to ESPN Stats for that info. But Beverley is an elite defender, which is something that the Lakers sorely need. This is his final season of his contract, and THT and Johnson really aren't going to factor in that much for the Lakers, who are in win now mode, in championship mode. And I just want to show Patrick Beverley and his stats throughout all the seasons. You know, he played in Houston for 5 seasons, Clippers 4 seasons, and Minnesota last season. He has been a consistent starter. He has been so great on defense. He can shoot the ball. His 3-point average is 37.8. And even though the stats initially might not seem that crazy, you know, 8.8 points, alright, 4.3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, but Beverley brings that competition, you know, in the sense that he will raise everybody on that court, in that locker room, motivation, their spirit, and he will, you know, get that occasional technical foul to hype up the team. And Beverley, I think Magic Johnson perfectly encapsulates what Beverley will bring to the Lakers. I used to hate Patrick Beverley when he played against my Lakers, LOL, but now I love him because he's on our team and he's going to help my Lakers get to the playoffs. I agree with that 100%. And I think the biggest thing about this trade is THT and Stanley Johnson wouldn't really contribute to the Lakers that significantly in the upcoming season should they have stayed with the Lakers. And if you look at THT, he really has underwhelmed in his 3 seasons with the Lakers. I still think he has tremendous potential. He is only 21 years old, but if simply put, the past 3 seasons he has not shown that big of an improvement. He has not shown his ability to be a key rotation factor for the Lakers. And like I said before, the Lakers are in win now mode. They can't really wait for THT to develop, because I believe THT has a chance to become a star in this league, you know, a 20 points per game type player. But simply on the Lakers, as we have seen in the past, especially since LeBron joined the Lakers, they are trying to win the championship each and every season. They don't really have the patience or the time to develop their younger players. So we could see guys like Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, you know, even a Julius Randle. They did not play as well on the Lakers in their earlier seasons. Don't forget Kyle Kuzma, same thing. They kind of were, their growth was stunted while playing on a Lakers team filled more with veterans and superstars who demands the ball, so they weren't really allowed to make and grow from their mistakes. So THT now joining the Jazz, who just traded away Rudy Gobert and is kind of in the midst of a rebuild. I like this move for THT. I think he's going to benefit a lot from getting more touches, being less afraid to make mistakes, being able to play his own style of basketball without deferring to other superstars. And I think this is kind of funny. The Raptors, originally, you know, they're discussing a deal with the Lakers for Kyle Lowry to the Lakers, and the Raptors wanted THT in return, which honestly I felt like if THT was traded to the Raptors, then he would be a factor. He would be playing real solid for the Raptors right now, because we all know the Raptors, they are great at developing their players. So now that the Lakers didn't want to get Lowry, so they overpaid for Westbrook, and then now they trade THT and Johnson for Patrick Beverley, is kind of a letdown in terms of the chips that Rob Pelinka was able to throw at the table. Because if the Lakers had Lowry over Westbrook, I think they would be a better team. But let's end off by giving some praise to Patrick Beverley. You know, he is kind of a polarizing player. Some think he's overrated, some think he's underrated. But I think the reality of the situation is, with Beverley over THT and Johnson, the Lakers have become a better team, better on defense, solid 3-point shooting. And Beverley spent 5 years in Europe, starting at the age of 19, and we all know when you play in Europe, which is a completely different atmosphere compared to the NBA, aka Luka Doncic, playing in Europe has really prepared Beverley for any hate or the raucous crowd, all the pressure and all that. And once he joined the Houston Rockets 2013, in the past 9 years, he's been a consistent solid contributor to every single team he's been on. And if you look at his career stats from 2013 onwards, he has almost been in the playoffs every single season, excluding 2 seasons in his 9 years. And he also helped the Timberwolves make the playoffs last season in a very long time. So I love this deal for the Lakers. It's really, there is no risk involved in this unless THT blossoms to a big star in the future, which I think he will. But the thing is, on the Lakers, I don't feel THT had that room to grow anyways. So given that the Lakers are aiming for that championship next season, Beverley is the man, and I think he's going to bring an extra layer, an extra dynamic to the Lakers that hasn't really been seen in the past. His defense is going to motivate and transcend the other players on the court to just have more hustle, even on diving for loose balls or grabbing a rebound that supposedly shouldn't have been grabbed by their team. I think these small moments is where Beverley shines, and that's going to pass on to his teammates. And yeah, love this deal. Big ups to the Lakers for pulling this off. I think THT on the Jazz will also be really great. This is a sneaky move by both teams that I think is beneficial for both sides. So I think both teams won this trade. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to live a spicy life. Peace.